Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen, and as you may have noticed, this is not the kitchen I usually film in because since I last uploaded a YouTube video, I have moved house and this is my new kitchen. So today I thought we would make a classic British Easter cake, the Simnel cake. Super easy and it is delicious, and since it's cold and wet outside, it's the perfect warming bake. So for this cake, you're going to need to do a little preparation before we start the actual baking, but it's super easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our dried fruit, which is a mixture of different things like currants, raisins and sultanas. We're going to add to that some candied peels, some glacé cherries, and then to soak it all up, make it a little bit more festive, we're going to add some rum or some brandy or some whiskey, a dark liquor, or orange juice if you don't use alcohol, and then some orange zest. And we're just going to leave that, set it aside for overnight or at least a few hours so you can soak everything up. The second thing we're going to need is our prepared tins. This is a 20 centimeter and 8-inch deep round cake tin, and we've double lined it. So the base is lined with 2 layers of parchment and so are the sides. And that's just because this cake bakes for a long time. So to actually make the cake, what we're going to do is we're going to add our butter, which is just unsalted butter, and then our light brown sugar. We're just going to use a small portion of sugar for this because the rest of that sweetness is going to come from Lyles golden syrup, which is going to give that delicious, warm, caramelly flavour. So we're going to add that as well, and we're going to beat it together till it's nice and combined. So quick tip for this recipe, but generally any recipe where you're using the creaming method, you're going to want to stop the bowl, the mixer every now and again, scrape it down so everything is combining it nice and evenly. So now that our butter and sugar mixture is really nicely creamed, it's really light, fluffy, and you can see it's become nice and pale in colour, is ready to add our eggs. So now that we've got our creamed butter, sugar and golden syrup mixture, we're going to work on our dry goods. So we're going to mix our almonds and our flour and our spices together with a little bit of salt as well. And all we're going to do is add this to our mixer alongside our butter mixture. You don't have to do this in stages, you can just do it in one go. Just add it and then mix it until it's just formed a nice smooth batter. You don't need to beat it this for a long time, just get it in and mix very briefly. Then our final stage is to add our fruit mixture. Just scrape this in. And again, I'm just going to mix this until it's nice and evenly distributed. So you might be thinking that this so far looks very much like a Christmas cake recipe. And you wouldn't be wrong, it's very similar. But the key difference is this stuff. We're going to add marzipan. Now obviously Christmas cake can have marzipan too, but this is a little bit different because it's not just going to go on the outside of the cake, it's actually going to go inside the cake. So we're going to take about a third of our mixture, about 150 grams, and we're going to roll it into a ball, into a disc that fits just inside the tin. So the tin is 20 centimeters, so we're looking to go about 18 centimeters. So we're just going to lightly dust our work surface with a little bit of icing sugar, and then we're just going to roll this into a circle. So you can use corn flour, cornstarch, or icing sugar to dust the surface. I like icing sugar. You just don't want to add too much. You can be as neat and as tidy as you want with this. We just want a rough circle that is about 18 centimeters in diameter. So we're going to add about half of our cake mixture to the tin. We don't have to be exact again, just a good guesstimation. We're just going to spread that down into a nice even layer. Then we're going to take our marzipan. We're just going to place that inside, trying to center it so there's a little gap around the edge so the cake can join together. And then we're just going to place the second half of our cake batter on top to seal everything together. Just spread it into a nice even layer. Some people like to leave a kind of divot in the middle so that the cake bakes a little flatter. I don't mind it a little bit domed, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. So now that our cake is ready for the oven, we're going to put it into the oven for about 2.5 hours to 2 3/4 hours at 150 degrees Celsius. That's 130 on a fan oven, and we're just gonna let it sit there, do its thing. We're gonna check on it after maybe almost an hour and 45 and just see how it's browning. If it's getting a little bit too dark, you might want to tent it with a piece of foil just to help it from becoming too dark. But generally this is a completely fine cake just to leave in the whole time. So a day has passed, and the reason for that is our beautiful cake actually takes quite a long time to cool down. With this sort of fruit cake, you're talking at least 6 hours to fully cool. So normally I just make it the day before, let it cool fully, and then get on with the decoration. Now for the decoration, it's incredibly simple. We're going to use some sieved apricot jam, some jam that's been brought to a simmer so it's nice and sticky, just with a touch of water. And we're going to brush that all over the cake on top, and that's going to make it nice and sticky so that our marzipan can stick on top. So once the cake is covered on top with our jam, we're going to work on our marzipan. So what we're going to do is take some of it, just a little bit, and roll out 11 balls for the top decoration, and then the rest we're going to roll into a disc to sit on top of the cake. So if you've got your disc nice and even, we don't need to trim it, but if it's not quite nice and even, you can just use a plate to cut around the edge to make sure it's nice and neat. Then we are going to get our cake, and we are just going to gently drape the marzipan on top, just kind of adhering it with that jam. And then for decoration, we're just going to very lightly kind of crimp the mixture. So just use your thumb and your finger, just like you were doing a pie, just to form a nice crimped edge around the cake. And then for the balls, we're just going to put a little bit of the jam on the bottom and just place those onto our cake, just using a little bit of pressure to adhere them. And that is basically our finished Simnel cake. Really simple, delicious, twist on a classic British fruit cake, perfect for Easter, very traditional, and the best thing is it keeps for ages. But that's not quite it. There's one extra thing we can do. It's just for decoration, but it's really fun because it involves a blowtorch. Take our blowtorch, we're just going to lightly caramelize the cake. Just light motions just to caramelize the marzipan, just a little bit. You want to be nice and light-handed. You just want a touch of this look. Okay, now we're done. That is a delicious Simnel cake. If you want the full written recipe, there's a link down below in the description box for my website. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for lots more baking content, and you can also follow me over on Instagram and TikTok for lots more baking videos all the time.